Oh, there's a bite. Now that's really cool.
Old school fishing on the Neshaminy with my good friend Steve Horvath. Stay tuned, it's going to be fun.
And he just let himself go. Red ear sunfish.
We're down on the Neshaminy Creek, and we're just calling it old school fishing, wading in the summertime, catching bluegills, catching smallmouth bass, just like when we were kids.
That's it. And you don't even have to touch them. No. You know, it's funny, a lot of people that we meet that fish and stuff, this is how they started out fishing.
Right.
You know, walking around on the creek and stuff. And most people would bypass it for bigger or better things, but I love doing this.
I know, we all cut our teeth on this. This
yeah.
is when, I mean, this right in this area, this creek is where I started fishing at, you know, like 8 years old.
I spent most of my misspent youth walking up and down this creek. And the nice thing is, if you're 8 years old or 80, you can come out here and do this. It's
right.
easy.
Right, we just got an old pair of sneakers on, some shorts, it's cool.
Yep.
We're into August now, it's hot out, but we're nice and cool in the water.
Yep.
And the whole thing with this is, you don't need to tack a couple of spinners.
Yep.
A lot of times I know we used to like worm fish and stuff like that. We'd go dig our worms, but that was our,
just as well.
Our day's activity, kept us out of my mom's hair.
Yep.
And we did it. So Steve, let's just talk a little bit where we are and what are we going to be doing down through here.
Well, we're, I guess, in Humeville, Pennsylvania. We're right under the Turnpike Bridge on the Neshaminy Creek almost.
Right.
And the important thing is it's in the middle of the day. It's 90-some degrees, it's in the middle of the day, and I wanted to come here just to show people that you don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get down here and catch fish.
Right.
These fish bite all day.
Right. And one of the things that you had mentioned that you come down here with your son and your other daughters and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's not, I mean, we're only in knee-deep water,
yeah,
it's not
they
fast.
fall in, you know, who cares?
Yeah, yeah.
They're having fun.
Right, that's it. And now, the water situation, it's August, it's low, but what are we going to be looking for when we're wading down through here?
Well, we're fishing downstream, but we're not standing in the middle of the creek fishing downstream. So anything that we kick up here, sediments or anything, are going to wash down the bank, not in the middle where the fish are. Now, we're fishing little cracks, crevices, and we'll do that in a little bit. I'll take a walk out to where we're catching the fish, and you'll see that it only drops off maybe that much,
but
that's where the fish are hiding.
All right, let's go catch some fish.
Okay. So what you got there?
A little sunny. Little sunny. Came out of nowhere, that one.
You know, as much as I would like to be an expert on everything that swims in this creek, there are so many different variations on a sunny.
Right.
You know, that I can't keep track of them. I see some that have a bigger mouth, a smaller mouth. I know like the red-eared sunfish and a bluegill, like we catch other places. Right. But there are some stuff that almost looks like a cross that's got a bigger mouth on it and almost like teeth. And I don't even know what that one is. But the place is full of them.
There you go, Stevie, the little one. Nice one. I must be into the sunfish
that's it.
Motif. That little one.
Well, that's it. We're not fishing for whales today.
Nope. No.
You know, we're not fishing in a tournament trying to catch the biggest fish.
One thing I do like about this lure that I'm using here, you put just a single hook on it, which makes it real easy to get the fish off. But there's treble hooks on these little fish. It's just real difficult.
Well, you know, it makes the fish easier to put back,
Right.
quicker to put back, which means you have more time to fish.
Right.
And that's what you're fishing's it's a 1/24 of an ounce rooster tail, which is like about the smallest size they make, I believe.
Yeah, we're not fishing, we're fishing micro lures.
Oh yeah, I'm fishing 4. Some guys will fish 2, but I just never felt comfortable with the 2.
Yeah, 4-pound test is what you need in here.
And really, even with these small fish, it's important to check your line every so often,
Yeah.
because they do wind up getting you down in some rocks and stuff.
Yeah, and we're going over some stuff too.
So just like any other fishing, you know, I'd say probably 80% of the time when we fish, we're just doing the basic things anyhow.
Right.
You know, 80% of it's basics. And checking your line to make sure it's not all frayed and stuff, well, that's basic.
This is really tidal fishing in a sense, isn't it?
You know, actually, Bob, it is. We're about as far inland on the creek as you can come and still be tidal. We probably have about a foot and a half of tidal influence here, and that's about it. But it is important that when you fish, you want to kind of play the tides. The low water, just like any other tidal water, gives us better access to the fish. You know, they can't spread out so far, and makes it better. Right here, the tide's a little bit higher, but hey, it's hot and it feels good to be out here in the water, so I won't complain. I think we got the old Sunny here. Staying in the water. Nope, striper.
And that's something that you really don't realize here on the Neshaminy, that there are these stripers in here.
Baby striper. You know, there's more and more of them. Let me get it back in the water here. There are more and more little stripers, and sometimes some bigger stripers, you know, in the areas where we're fishing, even in the shallow water.
You know, we're really not far from the Delaware, basically about another mile downstream, and we're right in the Delaware River.
Oh, sure. Well, I don't know if a lot of people know it, but the Delaware River, Delaware Bay, is one of the largest striper breeding areas on the East Coast. You know, I guess the main ones would be like Albemarle and Currituck Sound in North Carolina.
Right.
Then you have
Chesapeake.
the Chesapeake, absolutely. You have the Delaware Bay and the Hudson River. They're fish factories. And what's happening is, and I explained this to my daughter the other day, she couldn't understand why I was so excited to catch a little striper, because I never caught one here as a kid. You know, and now there are days when you're reeling in a sunny or a little smallmouth, and there's 4 and 5 and 6 pound stripers trying to get your smallmouth.
So it's not at odd that you could even retangle with a big fish.
Exactly.
In here.
On 4-pound line. But that's what makes it so fun. That one's pulling.
Yeah.
What do we got? I can't tell. Could be almost rock bass. We've got another species. I think it's a Rocky. Yep, it's a Rocky. Now, white perch.
Another species.
Add another species to the list. Now this fish is real similar to the striper. It looks a lot like the striper. They tend to be a fatter fish, but they don't get nearly as big. You know, a pound, pound and a quarter, that is a great big white perch.
And they, you know what, Steve, they fight hard, those little things.
Oh, sure. And the nice thing is, and I know I had the fish on my hand, but my hand was wet, but a lot of these fish we could just unhook real easy. Never hurt the fish.
It's one thing when we're down here fishing, we're going to learn a lot about different species of fish, because you're going to catch a white perch, you're going to catch a sunfish, you're going to catch a striper, and all the different bluegills. So it's kind of an interesting thing to you actually learn all the species of fish you can catch in here. And you catch a catfish too.
Yep, definitely a smallie.
You know, it's so funny. like you said before, Steve, even though they're small, that smallmouth will jump like that anytime.
Exactly. And the great thing about it is, again, back when I was a kid, we never caught all these little smallmouth.
No.
I think the water's in a lot better shape now than way back when.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot cleaner.
You know, with the single hook, that'll let you get that fish off much easier.
Yep, it just pops right off once you just tap it.
Quick release. And you never even hurt the fish.
Nope, he's sitting right there again. Steve, we moved down the creek a little bit, and the tide's coming up, so we're working our way back up. But one of the things you had mentioned was, as we come back up, let's fish this dark side, am I right?
Exactly. We're doing the same thing you would in any other tidal water situation. When the tide comes up, the fish can spread out, they move in closer to the bank, and what we can do is we can fish the bank. And that's something most people, they walk down to the bank of the water, where do they want to cast? In the middle of the lake, on the other side of the creek.
Right.
Well, guess what? Fish the water that you have in front of you first, you spook less fish,
right.
You're able to catch more fish, and you don't have to cast out in the middle all the time.
No, and it's right here, and you're only catching maybe 6, 8, 10 inches of water.
Exactly.
And they're moving up in there because they want the shade and they want the cover.
Yep. Oh, there's a bite. That one ate it with exactly that much line out. Again, one of the little sunfish that we call it a shell cracker because it almost seems like it has more teeth than the other sunnies and bluegills and stuff.
It's got a rougher mouth, huh?
Yep, absolutely.
What do you got, Stevie?
I got me a sunfish.
Hey, I'm Bob Murray. I'm down here on the Neshaminy Creek, fishing with my good friend Steve Horvath. We're doing old school today. We got talking about old times when we were kids and how we used to come down to the Neshaminy Creek, and that's where we both started to learn how to fish, coming down here with riding our bikes, sitting on the bank. Summertime, we got out here wading, a pair of sneakers.
Got another one.
And this is what we used to do, just keep catching them. And we'd have a ball. So Steve and I said, you know what, let's just get together. It's a hot day. Let's get down to the Neshaminy and we'll go catch some fish, just like the old days. And what we're doing is basically just having a good old time. Which one thing that we just talked about was that as kids, we were safe. It's not dangerous down here. We're wading in water maybe up to our hips. But it was a lot of fun for us, and we can get out. And it's a good thing if you, as a father, taking his son or daughter down here. Steve takes his kids down, and the kids can have a good time. You're with them, supervise them, and you have a heck of a good time. You don't need a lot of equipment. A little light spinning rod, which is good for kids because they can handle it. It's not big, heavy bass equipment like we usually throw, and they'll have a good time. And when they get wet, who cares? You're right there. They have a good time, and it just brings them enjoyments of fishing. Steve, we're probably in one of the deeper spots here. We're basically out in the middle, but what are we doing in front of us here? What do we have?
Well, we have a big submerged rock in front of us. And what that does is it creates a current break. The fish will hang out behind the rock and they'll feed. And it's real important that we're only talking about a difference of, and you can see that I'm wet up to my belly.
Right.
You know, we're only talking an 8-inch or a 6-inch difference in depth, but on a little body of water like this, that makes a big difference.
Steve, when you're out creek fishing, or crick fishing as we call it, is there any preferences you have about how to start it, fish it, or just it's
You know, I honestly don't, but I do have some key areas that I always fish. I always fish the deeper banks or the shadier banks, and anywhere where we can determine the current breaks, you know, there's a spot for the fish to hide. Those are the types of spots that are good every single time you go.
Yeah,
there are
to
spots
just look
where,
at this stuff and see where it's at. That's all.
Yep. And it's easy to see. And if you have any kind of short-term memory whatsoever, you'll remember from getting wet.
Right, right.
You know, there's a lot of spots on this creek that I remember because this is the rock that I tripped over.
Right.
You know, I got wet here, or, you know, don't go across there. But those are the deeper spots that the fish will hold at times.
You know, with the baits that we're using, little spinners, little poppers, and little rapalas and stuff like that, they're basically fairly snag resistant for this kind of fishing.
Yeah, because, you know, the little rapalas and stuff we're using are floating rapalas, not like the countdown or sinking rapalas. The spinners stay up high in the water column. The only time we really get snagged is when the fish do it to us. If they, you know, we hook one and they go to try to dive, you know, up behind a rock, or we're reeling it
like
in,
we get a rock right here to
and
get
something
around
like that happens. Yeah, then we'll get snagged, but it's not often. The nice thing is, when you get snagged, you can walk right out.
Get it.
You can reel the rod tip right down to the snag, right down to the lure, and push it off. And I'm thinking this shade up in front of us should be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm going to walk that way.
Smallmouth. Jumping smallmouth. Oh, there we go. You know, you were saying, Bob, up against the shade, and that's right where that one came out of.
Yeah, they moved up in there because the water's come up and it's just pushed them up in there. And like you can see, there's a lot of bugs on the water and stuff over there under the trees and stuff.
Definitely stuff for them to eat.
He's a chunky one. It's unbelievable the color in these fish. Absolutely unbelievable. That's just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I love chunky fish.
A little sunfish. Off the hook he goes. Might be a few of them. Ooh, there's a big swirl. Just about caught it.
Yeah, I got a white perch. Little white perch.
Boy, it's something. I like the shade under the bridge, and so do the fish. Something we should always remember is to try to fish shady areas whenever you can when the water's warm.
Oh, I had him. Catches it, you won't hold on to it though. You can look right out here, and there's a blue claw crab about that big that just went after my lure. So you can catch anything in the Neshaminy. Well, we do have, because of the salt water, the salinity it's in the water here, at the low water during the summertime, the salt line moves up the river, and these crabs come in here. So I'll tell you what, that was a decent crab. If we would have caught it, I would have had some dinner. Another little smallmouth here in the river, or in the creek, really. Beautiful little fish.
And now for a closer look at today's tackle, Delaware Valley Outdoors presents the Tackle Box. For more information about the tackle used on today's show, go to DelawareValleyOutdoors.com.
All right, Stevie here with the tackle box, and you know, tackle box hasn't changed in a lot of years.
It's still the same stuff I was fishing 25 years ago.
Just a little bit, maybe a little different color patterns,
Yep.
a little bit better paint and stuff like that, but that's about it. First bait, again, all the baits we're using, we'll get back to these other two, but most of the baits we're using are real small baits.
Sure, we want to scale down, you know, the lure to the size of the fish.
And what do we have here, Steve?
That'd be a floating repel in a chartreuse color. Chartreuse is good, silver is good, gold is good. Chartreuse when the water is dirty or it's cloudy.
And again, it's easy to cast. You just cast that right out and just
kind of twitch it on the surface and they come up and just slurp it.
And again, the easy bait to use, especially
Very
on these
easy.
light rods. Now, I brought this little crankbait, and we have a couple of them, but a little crawfish color crankbait, especially when we had that deeper water.
Deeper water, sometimes when you're around bigger fish, if there's more smallmouth than sunfish, you can switch over that and catch some bigger fish.
Right. Now this one here, this is an old timer here, Steve.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that, go ahead.
That's a 2-inch twister tail, a 32nd ounce jig head, and that's actually one of the favorites of my kids because a lot of times you can actually see the sunfish or the smallmouth, and that's something you could throw to them just up current. It'll sink in front of them, and they can actually watch the fish come over and grab it.
And yeah, because the water we're fishing is quite clear.
Sure.
It really is. It's amazing how clear the water is there. I mean, we've even had thunderstorms and stuff in the past couple of days, but it really has cleared up real quickly. And this is an easy thing for the kids to throw on a little spinning rod.
Exactly. The other thing is you could just throw it out and reel it in straight, and a lot like you would fish a swim bait for a bigger fish. A little tail just goes in the current and the fish just latch on there.
Okay, now we've jumped up a couple of sizes here, Steve, but
just a little.
Tell us a reason why we have this bait.
That's the just-in-case bait, Bob. The other day I was down here fishing and I really didn't have anything to throw. I'd be reeling in the sunnies or the smallmouth, and I had 5 and 6 pound stripers trying to come up and eat it. And I had nothing to throw at them. Today we had something to throw at them and no big stripers.
No big stripers came up. But you should always have something in your little tackle box here to have like that. And when them stripers do come up, you'll catch them with this.
Sure, yep.
Yeah. All right, now let's go to our go-to baits.
Oh yeah.
Okay, tell us about this one, Steve.
Well, we caught virtually every fish we caught on some variation of that spinner. Now, that's a 1/24 ounce rooster tail. It was yellow. They've got most of the paint eaten off of it in the skirt. But it was yellow with a silver blade, and that one has a single hook on it. And a single hook makes it very easy to unhook the fish.
Now, did you put the single hook on, or did they come that way?
It came that way, and that's the only one I've ever seen like that.
With a single hook on it? Because I'm saying it's kind of odd that a single hook on there.
My son Nick bought it, and he hasn't gotten it back yet.
Yeah, they're real small. Okay, now this one here is kind of an oddity. What do we have here? Let's talk about this one here. This is kind of an interesting colored bait. See, what do we have here?
Well, it's a 16th ounce rooster tail. It's a little bit bigger than the other one. A little bit deeper water you can fish it in, or you can reel it faster without popping out of the water. The nice thing is it's got a pink blade on it. And painted blades like pinks, chartreuses, oranges and stuff seem like they work real well in dirtier water or when there's a lot of smallmouth around.
And you can visualize this bait when it's going through the water, and seeing it visually, you can work it better, am I correct?
Exactly. You can track it, you can see where it's coming, you can reel a little bit faster, reel a little bit slower depending on how deep or shallow the water is. And the nice thing is, most of the time you can see the fish actually chasing the lure and get a hit. And a lot of times, and you know, I say my reflexes are so fast, but we miss the fish and then we take it away from them. We're anticipating a bite.
Right, yeah, it scares you a little bit. Okay, another thing, being out here, again, we were talking old school. It was a lot of fun. Old pair of sneakers, some shorts, hot day, get to cool off a little bit. It's kind of nice. But you just need a little light spinning rod here. You don't need a lot of fancy tackle. So you can just come and, 4 pound test, little trout rod.
4 pound, 6 pound test. You know, the tackle hasn't changed except for the rods are a little bit higher quality. The reels are a little bit higher quality. The line's a little bit better. The fish haven't changed. The places we catch the fish haven't changed. And if they have changed, it's for the better.
Right. Right, yeah. And one thing, it was just a lot of fun doing this kind of thing. And again, you know, I recommend it to, you know, fathers and taking their sons and their daughters and moms too. I mean, everybody can get out fishing. It's real easy, it's fun. You don't need a lot of equipment, you don't need a lot of money being placed into it, and yet it's a lot of fun. The other thing is, these vests, I know we had the vest on today, but it's real helpful to when you're walking down a stream. You know, you got your forceps, you can put a couple of lures in here, you throw the little tackle box in your pocket.
Sure, it's a great thing to have. Yeah. It's not really expensive. You can buy one, they last you a lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. These, I think I forget how long I've had these trout rods and used them. And that's the tackle box.
You know what, Bob? What? I think this is, oh, he's gone. No. Oh, it was Ned. Oh. Oh.
You had the big one, son.
Wah, 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 wah. Oh, jeez.
Hey, Steve, I want to thank you for taking me out.
Oh, yeah.
If we're going to end it like that, we might as well end it like kids, so what the heck. Hey, if you get a chance, come on down to the Neshaminy or any little creek around here in the summertime with your friends or your kids and get out here with a little spinning rod, some little spinners, and go old school for a little bit. It was a lot of fun. Lost some big ones. Now we got a story to tell.
Yeah.
We got a story to tell, the one that got away. And don't forget to go to our website, DelawareValleyOutdoors.com, for more information. We got videos up there, all kinds of interesting things. Maybe even a picture of us fishing. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. I'll see you on the water.
Oh, he's off. Little smallmouth. Well, you know what? They jump. Even the little ones jump, just like the big ones. There are no.
Now, he's already caught the fish or no?
No, he's playing with it now. He's caught it.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's still got it in his hand. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Bob Murray. Don't forget to go to our Delaware River. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. Don't